It's Wednesday morning in Mel and Vinny's Lake Worth, Florida kitchen. Our guests today are Chris Gosling and Rhonda Hewitt. Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is Vinny Sheniglia and Mary Ellen Healy. Welcome to episode 3 of Kitchen Talk, where the music does the talking.
3, 2, 1. It's not the same in other towns along the coast, both up and down. There's nowhere else, just look around. It feels like home to me.
Well, peddlers come and go all the way from everywhere. And we are the Thursday Night Peddlers. And our two friends are here.
Who are also Thursday Night Peddlers, which is a social group in Lake Worth that meets on Wednesday nights now, once a week.
Very Lake Worth.
And this year at 6:30, although sometimes the start times changes when the days are short. And I think we met Chris and Rhonda on a bike ride.
I think you're right.
And you had a different accent, so we figured that you probably weren't snowbirds, but that you might also come and go.
Yeah, you're not from around here.
How did you guess?
Where are you from?
We're from England. I originally come from Birmingham, but I now live 40 miles east of London with Chris Gosling.
And I originally came from East End of London, and I now live in Southend-on-Sea.
But we've been coming here for about 30 years now.
Goodness.
30 years.
Why Lake Worth? How did you find Lake Worth?
Interesting story with Lake Worth, because 40 plus years ago there was an exchange program with the University of Massachusetts and the University of Exeter, and I became very good friends then with Carol Lewis, who now lives in Lake Worth, and so for 30 years we've been coming and visiting on a very regular basis.
Wonderful. Wow. Well, Lake Worth is lucky to have you. This is... So
what do you do when you come to Lake Worth? Gosh, over 30 years, I bet you've done many things.
Well, since we've had the house, it's changed. Before we would visit people and do the usual things, but then it became our home, so we did things here, just like we do at home, really. So we wanted to be not snowbirds, definitely. We wanted to be part of the community. So we get involved as much as we can. So this time, the main features have been, of course, the street painting, which we've always wanted to come to.
First time we've seen it.
Yeah.
This is our first time, yeah.
And you got a
big
one.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
There's over
So
100,000 people came to the street painting festival here in Lake Worth.
What volunteer jobs did you do at street painting?
Well, actually, I had my brother and his wife in town, and so I took a little bit of a back seat, and it was Chris who sort of did most of the stuff this time. So,
Friday night was Taste of Lake Worth.
Yeah.
So, Blue Front, we did that stall there, Paul Miller and myself, and that was fun because we got to eat lots as well.
Blue Front is a local restaurant, and Taste of Lake Worth is what exactly?
Taste of Lake Worth is exactly as it says. Come along and you can have a taste of our restaurants, our businesses, lots of stands around, and you can go along and just eat what you want.
And there was a really interesting one. I saw a seedling go by in an ice cream cone to plant in the ground. The Gray Mockingbird Community Garden, hosted on the grounds of the Scottish Rite Masonic Center in North Lake Worth.
That they were giving away tree seedlings? For what kind of tree?
Well, papaya tree seedlings, and also I think herb seedlings. And all you had to do was plant the ice cream cone in the ground.
but you know,
so you can't eat them immediately then? You have to wait till they grow.
Yeah, we did that actually 2 years ago, and we were amazed at how quickly it grew. And we got papayas, didn't we? We actually, and can you imagine what that's like from Europe,
Right.
that we're living in this tropical paradise and we can produce our own fruit?
Yeah, I remember that they used to bring the papaya back to England when the explorers went. And that was one of the things that the ships used to go to the islands and bring back breadfruit and papaya to.
Yeah.
And I guess there's not papaya growing in England. It's too cold.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, okay.
So what else have you got there, Chris? You were-
So we did that on Friday, and then Saturday was 8 o'clock till 11 at the artist station. So where they had breakfast, obviously donated by 2Js. There was, I can't think who did lunch, but somebody else. So the businesses were very well involved with all of that. And then
Very
in the
generous.
afternoon, 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, a trolley guide, which I loved doing.
Oh, you were.
That was about-
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
That was a sum total.
Okay, that's Lake Worth exciting events, but you volunteer. You've worked on a couple of mural projects here as an artist. I think you've done that.
We
Yeah.
both did the Mockingbird, as Mel
Mhm.
mentioned earlier.
Right, that's a marvelous thing.
Huge tile
Thousand,
wall. How big is it?
Thousand tiles, 6 by 6 inches.
A gorgeous mosaic.
And
The
you might
Garden of
have
Eden.
time to add Mel and Vinny tile to the
That's right.
Grey Mockingbird.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll do that when I go home.
Okay.
It's got to be
All
done.
right, so but that's while you're around here, but you don't spend all your time here at Lake Worth, because I've always seen pictures of you traveling everywhere.
We tend to. I mean, when we come here, we like to do a trip within a trip. So that's enabled us to see a lot of places: St. Augustine, Savannah, Charleston, Georgia, New Orleans, and so on. So because America's so big, we're just getting tasters the whole time. And then back in Europe, it's so close, Europe is, and it's so very reasonable with airfares that we like to take advantage of that and do quite a bit of traveling. So that's what we do. We go to as many places as possible.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Where was the last place you've been in Europe that was out of the ordinary?
Well, we took a trip to India. That was absolutely
Well, that's not Europe.
fabulous.
That's
No, we go beyond Europe.
Last one in Europe was Prague and
Prague, Budapest,
Yeah.
city breaks. That's pretty good.
But in India.
That was our last big trip. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was fabulous.
Oh, I bet that you see
How
the Taj
long?
Mahal.
Yeah, we did. We did the triangular tour, which was
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
Did you dip your feet in the Ganges?
Of course,
Was
of course, and I've had good look ever
it
since.
was, oh, well,
3 of us have had our toes in the Ganges.
that's right.
Yeah.
And I've been
Oh,
waiting to wash my
wow.
feet until I can do that. So it's I don't know how
We
long
need
this
to
is.
make a plan. We need to make a plan.
I think we should all go. We should all go.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's
Let's
make
do
a
it.
plan.
And we'll do a kitchen talk from the edge of
Oh,
the
why not?
Ganges.
That's
Why
right.
not?
Oh,
It'd
that
be
could
fun.
be.
Oh, the
Why
Taj
not?
That's right.
Mahal.
That's right. That would be
Well-
wonderful.
How did you two meet each other?
That was. Oh, you were going to do.
Well, it was an interesting story. Back in the 80s, I had actually been living with Carol. I'd moved to Chicago, spent a couple of years there. And then I'm afraid I was asked to leave, very politely, because I didn't meet the criteria. So I went back home. And I got a job teaching in the same school Chris was at. Didn't know her. And there was a school trip down to somewhere in Spain,
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yes.
And so basically, somebody dropped out and they needed someone to fill in last minute. So that's what I had to do. So all of a sudden, I want to coach. I'm sat next to Chris, and it's like, "Hello, my name is," and so we've been friends ever since.
Wonderful. What a serendipity.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's about the time we've been together
Right.
since the 80s.
Wow.
Wow.
That was a good time.
Yes.
That was a
Good time was had by all.
Oh,
Exactly, exactly.
fabulous.
Okay. So, is there any trips in the offing in the immediate future? Where are you going to head next?
Yeah, actually, it's we've got some friends from Lake Worth coming over to visit us in London very shortly after we leave in early March, and we're going to take them across to Venice for a few days, and then we'll go to Florence for a few days.
Oh, wonderful.
And
The
so
Italian
that will
tour.
be nice, the Italian tour. That will be nice. It'll be spring, so the weather should be quite pleasant,
Mhm.
but not too hot. And they've never been to either of those places, so I think it'll be fun to share their enjoyment for the first time.
Yeah, wonderful.
That'll be good. And hopefully, towards maybe the end of the year, we're going to look to another big trip. So we'll see exactly where that takes us.
Great.
Mm.
Great.
Little free libraries.
Oh, little free
Little.
libraries. We love little free libraries. Shall I
Tell
tell
us
you?
a bit. Tell us a bit.
Well, we've started a project here with little free libraries, and I think there are 24 already up. And I got involved in painting those. And the little free library we did is at the beach, and so you have to look after the library that you've painted. We've got friends who look after it while we're not here. And when we went home in the summer, we put a little free library up in our own garden, at the front garden, which is amazing. And so it works both ways, and we've got a big project when we get back.
For those folks out there, these are boxes that have books in it that anyone in the neighborhood can borrow a book and then return a book, and it's they're out there. Instead of going to the library in the center of town, you can go to one in your neighborhood and pick out a book.
And there's a lot of children's books in there, so it's promoting literacy, and hopefully it'll take off big time in Southend, because Chris has got her school involved. They're actually making these sort of like libraries, and Chris will be
That's
distributing them.
They're making them in a flat pack.
Right,
Which
because
is a lot
in
easier to
Lake
do.
Worth, they were
They buy
part of a grant, because I remember when the grant deadline was looming, Mary Lindsay, who's very active in helping to foster a lot of things that happen here, asked us if we would be willing to host a little free library, because in order to get the grant, they had to be sure that they had hosts.
Yes.
And luckily, because we're seasonal and in a condo, it was enough to say that we would host one, and then someone else actually took over. But they were actual kits that were bought and put together and then painted beautifully by many people.
By many, and that's something that maybe you folks out there can read about and maybe do in your own neighborhood. And there's so many more things that we'd like to talk about, but we've run out of time in our little vignette here. So
thank you, Rhonda and Chris, for coming
Pleasure.
to our kitchen where the music does the talking. And thank you, viewers, for watching in. You've been watching Kitchen Talk with Mel and Vinny live on Periscope. 3, 2, 1.
it's
Called Lake Worth in Florida. On any map you'll see, from John Prince Park to Ocean Shore, it feels like home to me. Feels like home to me.
See you next time. You'll find us at hashtag Periscope, hashtag Twitter, hashtag Mel and Vinny, one word, hashtag Kitchen Talk. Find our music on iTunes and CD Baby. I'm Vincent Cerniglia, and that was Mary Ellen Healy as Mel and Vinny, and thank you, Chris and Rhonda.
Oh,
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. See you
Till
next
then.
time.